Anti-Afro Svengalis. This is about unfinished business. We need to talk about unfinished business. Every administrator overseeing these public servants and rogue public servants has a responsibility to do right by the public, because we know the rogue public servants aren't going to do their job. But we do know if we don't stay on the job, even the administrators have a tough time sometimes following through with every step that needs to be taken, that must be taken as prescribed by law. Before I explain what's going on, I have a little bit to share with you to set up this video. So stay tuned and I will return.
My name is Mike Ayers. I'm the Executive Director of the Peace Officer Standards and Training Council for the state of Georgia. P.O.S.T was established in 1970. Georgia, in fact, was the fifth state in the nation to adopt a standardization for law enforcement officers within the country. P.O.S.T itself is responsible for regulating the certification, training, and conduct of law enforcement officers throughout the state of Georgia. One of the functions that P.O.S.T does have is not only providing for or awarding a certification based on officers' completion of required training, but it is also a responsibility of monitoring that certification and taking steps when appropriate to either modify, suspend, or decertify that officer based on issues involving conduct. When an officer's conduct becomes in question, the agency generally conducts an internal investigation into that officer's conduct and reports that conduct to P.O.S.T. I, in turn, assign an investigator or a team of investigators to look further into the matter. They compile that information and make a report to the P.O.S.T. Council. Once the Council reviews that information, they make a determination as to what sanction, if any, is appropriate given an officer's specific issues of conduct. Georgia decertifies more officers than any other state in the nation. And it's not because we have worse, because we have very high standards. We are going to have people who are just not cut out to be officers. There are other occupations for those people.
Okay, I have an update. Mike Ayers retired at the end of December 2024, and his replacement was appointed by the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp. That is now Chris Harvey, who heads up P.O.S.T. And you heard what Mike Ayers said. I don't have any doubt that Chris Harvey feels any different. I mean, I need to go find his message that he has to deliver as far as what he has in mind for P.O.S.T. Everyone has their own way of putting it out there. But we're going to go with what Mike Ayers said. I'm going to hold him to his word that he's serious, that he is serious about what he said when it comes to officers. Now, he mentioned police officers. Obviously, he's referring to all peace officers. Anyone who is certified in Georgia as a peace officer under P.O.S.T, which includes probation officers. That is a title that we are specifically referring to. Probation officers are certified by P.O.S.T. They have the same standards. You heard how Ayers described the general process. So here's the situation. There are times when administrators feel they've done enough. Okay, we took care of the situation. We think we've quieted them for now. I think they're satisfied. No, we're not satisfied. You heard what was stated. When there is wrongdoing, when there has been an internal investigation, there has been finding of fact, those findings have to be referred to P.O.S.T. I stated in another video, because I did my research, P.O.S.T is not required, nor do they accept the findings full-fledged. They will do their own investigation. They start from scratch. They are not obligated to simply incorporate or sign on the dotted line that they accept the findings of internal affairs. When they do their own investigation, they make their own determination as far as disposition and whether they will revoke the post certification. And this is what we need to focus on. This is the step that we, and I say we, those who are planning this step, because I know it's not just me. I'm going to be moving forward with my plans. Whether or not the probation department is going to follow through, that's on them. I'm going to see to it that they're following through. I'm not going to trust them to do it on their own. I'm going to make sure those documents have been forwarded to P.O.S.T because there absolutely does need to be an investigation. You had a probation officer up here on YouTube cutting up and had the time of his life violating people's rights. This is the thing that really throws me for a loop. Whether or not anybody knew he was a probation officer doesn't make a difference. He knew he was a probation officer. That's all that matters. He knew his responsibility. He knew all the rules and the regulations. It's irrelevant whether anyone else knew. He got up here and deliberately, specifically, premeditated violating the law. Specific in every single move. He salivated. He did not have any shame in the game. And he knows good and damn well he took the stolen information from Mona. He and Mona were chopping it up right there on his channel, exchanging emails. P.O.S.T has subpoena powers. So did probation, but they were fast tracking somewhat their investigation, which is all good. P.O.S.T has subpoena powers. All they need to do is get those damn emails. This needs to be elevated. This needs to be dropped in the lap of the district attorney's office, who needs to refer it to the U.S. attorney's office. This needs to be addressed with law enforcement who has prosecutorial oversight. There's no way in hell a probation officer should be able to skate with this bullshit. Full blown took the stolen Social Security information, full blown got into the system, hijacking people's information he had no right to access, and came online and shared that information. Full blown looking up people who were seeking to have their information expunged. What business is it of his to look up someone who is trying to get their record expunged? What reason would he have to even be interested in anything like that? Don't you have some freaking work to do? You have time to sit here and look up people in the system when you're supposed to be writing reports and supervising people on probation? He wanted to make a point to look up people so we can do content. That was important to him. Content on YouTube was important. Putting a job at risk, putting a career at risk for these freaks on YouTube? So he has something to talk about every Friday? Salivating over stolen Social Security information? Targeting Rev G with these stupid ass, slanderous Eddie Long bullshit? That's important? That's putting a job at risk? Putting a career at risk? Just constantly ruminating, obsessing over the Al Show, saying the Al Show isn't welcome. This dude was really desperate for acceptance. What we need to make sure is done, that credential is revoked. There's no way in hell someone like Antonio Johnson should have any opportunity to go to another county in Georgia and apply to be a probation officer. That certification needs to be permanently revoked. The nerve of this freak to sit up here week after week after week after week thinking he was protected, complacent, smug, just talking so freaking greasy and foul, violating every rule and regulation under the sun, thinking he was so shielded from any consequence. The freaking nerve of this dude. Illegal activity that he should be arrested for. He should be in freaking jail or placed on probation. Don't you think? He should be in the same position that he was with the probationers, thinking he had the authority to supervise them because they're not responsible enough to follow the law without someone looking over their shoulder. Well, neither is Antonio Johnson. He couldn't be trusted enough to be law-abiding. He was running around with rage pigs who's on probation. Cannot sit here and violate the law and think you're going to sail off into a sunset on formal probation. Tell me you're getting away with something. You're not getting away with anything. You can pretend all day, every day. I don't give a damn what binary says. Binary, you don't tell anybody what we're going to focus on and what we're going to think and what we're going to do with any situation that has impacted us, specifically us. We have all the evidence. The evidence is there. You're not going to steer any ship for us. Who's steering the ship for you? When your family was attacked, who told you to forget about it? You went down to that freaking courthouse and you filed a restraining order, although you didn't have the guts to file police reports when the restraining order was violated. Does your wife know that you continue to engage with the subject, fold up body, after you filed the restraining order? Does your wife know about that? If you decide you didn't want to do something about it, that is your decision. You can't make that decision for other people. We're going to do what we're going to do. And I say that to everybody else who decides to take action. You can't make the decision for other people. Here is unfinished business. And whoever doesn't like it, that's too freaking bad. We don't care if you don't like the fact that DJ Jackass, DJ Drama, Antonio Johnson got fired, loses a job, gets decertified. We don't give a damn. Just like you didn't give a damn about all this shit he was doing to us, harassing us, targeting us, slandering us week after week after week. We don't give a damn, just like you didn't give a damn. And guess what? I got so much more I'm going to be saying. I'm not going to shut up. I'm going to run my mouth just like he ran his mouth, just like you are running your mouth. In the meantime, buyer beware.